In this video, we are going to continue layout markings on our charging stand pieces. So you just cut your charging stand into two smaller pieces from the block. We now need to make some markings on the cut edge mostly, so we know where to glue and where to sand. This is going to be important. We need a little bit of a rough edge for gluing down to the base so that the glue will actually stick to the wood. If you over sand those areas, the glue won't take and it won't hold up as well. So what we're going to be doing, as you see on our samples here, is marking areas where we're going to write no, don't sand, don't sand. We're going to be marking out the rest of these so we know where to sand and where to not sand. Okay? Easiest way to get our spacing, because it's all 1.5 inch spacing, is just to use these block lines here. So from our cuts that we've done. So the first thing we're going to do is start with our big block. So we've got our little block, we've got our big block now. Take the big block, this is what we're going to mark on. Turn that so you're looking at the edge of it. And you're going to take your little block and use that as the measurement piece. So all you're going to do, big block on edge so you're looking at the cut edge. Take the drawn side of the little block. You're going to stick them together like this so that they're lined up. And what you're going to do is take your pencil and you are going to just put a little mark right where that line is. So I put just a little mark across here and a little mark across here. Okay, continue those marks. And that's where you're going to take your square. Again, your frame, you're going to set that across that cut edge. And then you are going to be drawing that line across. Just nice and simple. And you're going to come to the other end of the block. Set the frame squarely on here and draw that line across. So on your big piece, we've connected those bottoms. We are going to write a no and a no in the middle and a no on the bottom, because we do not want to heavily sand those because we need those rough for glue. We're going to come over and do the same thing to the other edge. So now we have the smooth factory edge. Same thing. Take the smooth factory edge. Take your small piece. We're going to put marks across here. Marks across here. So again, we have our little marks. And we're going to do the same thing with the square. Connect it. And connect it. On the nice, smooth factory top edge. We're only going to write no on these end pieces. Only write no on the end 1.5 inch pieces. Do not write it anywhere else. Okay? This needs to stay smooth in the middle because that is going to be the top and the exposed part of your charging stand. These two end pieces are going to be glued on top and bottom, so that does not matter. All right, and what you're going to do then, we'll leave that be. The rest of this is done. We're going to move on to our small piece. Same process. We're going to mark the edge here, the cut edge first. Actually, only the cut edge. We're going to use same process though. Use the marked edges here of the big block, so we can start the same way. You can just put edge to edge here, and we're going to mark. So we've got an edge to edge. We're going to mark. Come down here. We're going to mark. We'll connect those so that we have our first end pieces done. We're going to make one more set of those 1.5 inch marks across here so that we know where to sand, not to sand for the glue up of the back of the charging stand. So we've got our ends, we're gonna write no. Again, this is the cut edge of the small piece. Small block, cut edge. We're gonna make one more set of 1.5 inch marks in here. So one more set in, same process. Now instead of being at the end, what we're gonna do is just slide the end of that other block to our mark. We're just gonna line it up so that the end of the block is at that line. Put another little mark. You can slide it down here. Same process. Line it up. Mark it. And we're going to connect those again with the square. Now, this is important. On the first one, so we're going to leave the middle one alone. The middle one does get sanded. You do need to sand that. On the others, we're going to write no. These two squares here is where these legs on your big block are going to attach. So that's why we marked them that way. It's going to fit right there. These will be cut off and form the inside spacer of the charging stand. This top piece is going to be the back on top, and the big piece in the front here, this middle one, is going to be the large front piece. These are the back legs. So this is kind of the basics of the main edge markings. The last thing we need to do on our little piece is we're going to write no on the front of these, on the ends, as well as on the back. Now, we don't have the lines on the back, but just put it right at the end of the piece, because this little end pieces here are going to get sandwiched in between, so we don't need to sand those any further than they are. You will need to sand the whole top of this, and we'll go over that in the sanding video. Okay? If you have questions, check with the teacher. When you are done, what you need to do is actually go up to the teacher's designated spot and find these sample pieces, and you are going to check your markings. So these have the red markings. You're just going to fit them together to make sure that everything lines up this way. You're going to take a look at the cut edge with the markings. Yours should match the teacher's with the lines and the nose. They may or may not have them on the back side. These do not. So you also need to check the big piece. Make sure they line up. You can also check it on both sides to make sure your lines are straight. Again, check that cut edge to make sure your nose line up with each other. If you have questions, check with the partner, check with the teacher, and then make sure you check your reference against these blocks before we go on to the next step. Good luck. Pay close attention to detail. Do your best.